Hello guys, welcome to your 29th lesson in this VueJS course. And in this lesson, we're going to be looking at optimization and fixes. Essentially, any little places where there needs to be any adjustments, any fixing, any optimization, we're just going to quickly look through our app before we actually build and deploy it and do all the necessary fixing. Okay, so let's dive right in. Alright, so the first thing I would like to optimize is going to be the scroll behavior. And let me show you what I mean exactly. Okay, scrolling down right here, and oh, for example, I decide to go to the recipe page. Look at, notice how we are actually starting from the same page we've scrolled, the same point we've scrolled to. So this scroll bar remains here. How about we actually set up a nifty little function which automatically scrolls to the top whenever we go to a new page, a new route. That would be pretty much cool, right? So let's come right there inside of our app, and the first thing I'm going to need to do is, well, first I need to close this. So the first thing I need to do is come right here and inside of my router file, same old router file. All right, so what we need to do actually is right here we created our router. We have all of these stuffs right here, etc, etc, etc. So let me just collapse all these right here, and you can do this underneath the route or before, wherever it is. We can define something which is scroll behavior, and this is very simple. Okay, and it's essentially a function, so I can just have this. Now inside of these we have we can take into from saved position. Okay, we are not making use of this, but I just wanted to show you some of the parameters it can take in. And essentially we can just return and say top 0, and okay, always, basically we are telling it to always scroll to top. Now let's see if that works. Coming back here. Okay, and what if we go to come right here to the download, and I'm just going to scroll down here and go back to the home. Okay, we can see that works, but not as expected. Okay, let's try that again. Scrolling down and clicking on this. That's interesting. How about we restart our development server? Let me quickly do that. Okay, and coming back here now, that works fine. Now all is good with reward. Okay, so coming back to the home, and we can still see this. How about clicking on this? Oh, now this is another thing we actually need to fix. These are making use of the normal HTML anchor tag, okay, which we are dying to fix right now. So coming to the contact, or let's come to the home, and even if we scroll down and then we click on recipe, that should take us right up, scroll right up. Okay, now moving on to the number 2, we are fixing this right here. So I'm going to come to, okay, the footer, and let's search for the footer. Oh bollocks, that's taking too long. And I'm just going to come right here and okay, footers, yeah, footer dot view. And if we should look right here, we can see, okay, it's basically making use of the anchor tag, which was causing our super reloading earlier. And let's see, right here in the header dot main header dot view, we can see, okay, we made use of the router link right here, and this is essentially the same thing we want to make use of. So what I'm just going to do is, instead of replacing this one after the other, I'm just going to do something like this, and I'm going to replace it with router, okay, router link, and then 2. Okay, so let's replace this, replace this, replace this, replace this, replace this. And given the fact that the rest are just, these are just dummy, so that's all we need for now. And I'm just going to replace the whole lot of these also. Okay, and we're going to replace it with the closing tag, and let's do that, and replace and this. Boom. Now let's save that, and let's come right here. So clicking on home, now that works fine, doesn't it? So fine. Okay, clicking on recipe should take us to the top of the page. That's nice. Okay, moving on. Now the next thing I actually want to fix is, let's quickly come and, okay, we open up the console, and right here I'm just going to click on this, and okay, notice one thing, something interesting. We don't have a mobile menu right here, a mobile bar right here, and that is not so good on mobile view, is it? So let's actually create a mobile menu, or a mobile header, whatever we call it. So right here I'm just going to come to headers, close this, and all I need to do is create, okay, mobile header dot view. Okay, so we can generate our view file, and the next thing is I'm just going to copy a bit of HTML template, and we're going to write the code for the script shortly. Okay, so I'm just going to copy, highlight, and paste this here. Now one thing I would like to note is, if you notice, right here we basically have, okay, a separate main.header file, and we have a separate mobile header.view file. And right here, basically the class that we added here shows that, okay, this is only going to be visible in mobile view, but once it gets to a large screen, it's going to become hidden. And we have the opposite, the reverse for this. It's going to be hidden, but when it gets to large, it's going to, boom, display itself. All right, and one thing I want to note though, you can maybe add the logic for both the styling, the output, or whatever we're going to use, for both the main header, the desktop header, and the mobile header in the same file. That is nice. That works fine. It's what a lot of developers most likely use, but I prefer to have a separation of logic. That way I know when need to fix something in the mobile header, I know which exact file line to go to. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there anyway. So right here I'm just going to remove these, we don't need you, and we're going to say setup. Okay, so we're going to use the setup keyword. Now the first thing we need to do is we have to import something from view ref. We are going to make some reactive values, okay, from view. And oh, did I just do that? Import ref from view. And the next thing we need to do is create a variable. So I'm going to say const mobile menu equals to ref, and we're going to say false. And the next thing is we're going to basically create a method right here. I'm going to say toggle data is going to be equal to, okay, mobile menu dot value is equal to not mobile menu dot value. All right, so this basically should work, and let's come back and let's check. Oh, we haven't added it yet. Oh, silly mistake, silly me. Okay, I'm going to come right here inside of the layout. Remember, we have this, and then we can basically just add the mobile header. Okay, and all I have to do is import. I can just do this, and let's save that, and let's see what we have. Okay, so let's quickly do a quick refresh. Okay, for some reason that is not rendering, which is pretty much interesting. I love it when things get interesting. Okay, so we have the desktop here showing, and let's inspect. Let's see if everything is right in the right land, and let's see, we have this here. Oh, we have an issue right here. Okay, and let's come here. Okay, I think we haven't registered the components yet, and I'm just going to copy these and register it here, and saving this should work now. Let's come back here, and when we scroll, move down, oh good, and clicking on this, we have this nice animated drop down, and we can click on this, and oh, now this works fine. So we can come to smaller screen size. Okay, this works nice. Alright, let's come back to desktop view, and the next thing I need to fix, that we need to fix and optimize, is going to be our recipe detail page. If you noticed, we actually broke it earlier in the previous lesson when we changed the adjusted the route. And if we should click on this, okay, we can see we are having this issue here, and we see it's not loading. And to fix that, it's really simple. Now all I have to do is come right here, and inside of the recipe detail component, and I think partials, we have the recipe detail info. Now we are not fetching, we don't want to be fetching to the API. If you look here, we are fetching to the API with this whole thing. Now this is not what we want. We just need, whenever the API just requires this number right here, the ID itself. So to do that, I'm going to come down right here, and right here I'm going to come here, instead of having just this router dot params dot id blah blah blah. Now what we want to do is, I want to say const, and I want to say mail ID from router equals to route dot params dot id. Okay, so we're going to do something such as console.log, okay, mail ID from router. Okay, so we just need to log this to the console, see what we actually have. Okay, so I'm just going to come right here, and we should see, come down, and we should see this right here. Okay, so we need to actually split this string. Okay, and what we're going to do is, I'm going to create another variable, and the variable is going to be mail id array, and that's going to be equal to, we can just do this directly, and I can just do something like route.param.id, and then we're going to say .split. Okay, so we are going to split it, right? So let's just remove this particular, and essentially what we want to do right here is, what I want to do is, okay, let me correct the name of this variable. We can say const mail id is going to be equal to mail id array. Okay, and inside of this we are going to say mail id array dot length -1. Essentially we are just getting the last element inside of the array we just broke down, and we are making use of it. So if I should put this here and save, now this should work fine now. Okay, so just to be clear, let's refresh this, and oops. Okay. Okay, let's see what the bug is this time around. Okay, we have this here, mail ID from router, and okay, we can just remove that, and this should work now. And let's refresh that, and this works. Okay, let's scroll down a bit, and okay, we have this. All right, what if we click on another recipe? Let's see, Chick-fil-A sandwich. Okay, so we see something else that we actually have to fix. We are still getting the details of this old Koga view, and let's see, what if we choose something else like this brown stew chicken, and we still see that not being updated. Okay, so we're basically going to fix that now, and what we are going to do is, I'm going to come back right here, and we're going to do a quick bit of refactoring. And the first thing I want to do is, I want to create a function. So I'm going to create a function get route ID. So that's going to take in a parameter. So I'm going to use an arrow function, and it's going to take in, okay, route ID. Okay, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy what we have from here. So let me just cut that, and I'm going to paste it here. And this is going to, instead of using the route.param.id, it's going to use the route ID it gets right here. And essentially what it's going to do is it's going to return, okay, sorry, I spelled that wrong, mail ID. Okay, so it's going to return this mail ID. And to demo what I just did now, so instead of having just the mail ID here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this particular function here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and essentially we're going to pass in the route.params.id. okay, so we're going to pass in the route.params.id. Now let's save that, and let's actually, okay, and let's actually come back here, and I'm just going to refresh. Okay, so we can see that still works fine. So then you might ask, what exactly is the purpose of doing things this way? Now whenever we actually go to another route using this particular route function, what we need to be able to tell VueJS and VueRouter is, okay, to fetch the current recipe. So whenever we move from one route to another, so we need to be able to pass this particular route inside of this function here. Okay, and to actually complete what we started right here, this function is going to take in ID. Okay, and I'm going to change this to ID right here. Okay, so this is going to take in the ID, and when we call the function right here, so we're going to call the route dot params dot id. Okay, that is the first thing. And secondly, we're actually going to call it right here also, 2.params.id. So whenever the route changes, it's going to only fetch the latest, the newest route. And for us to also fully compare this, I'm going to wrap this. Okay, let me copy the name of the function right here. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come right here, and I'm just going to wrap this in. Okay, now the major reason why I'm doing this is, remember when we changed, okay, this particular route ID, now it's getting whenever we log the route ID to the console, it's going to get the old string right here. Let me quickly demo that. I'm just going to okay, console.log, okay, 2.params.id, and we're also going to do the same thing for the from.params.id. so let's save that, and let's come right here. So whenever we actually go to another route, so let's see, we click on this brown stew chicken. Okay, that's not logging that to the console. Okay, so how about we refresh? Okay, so let's click on this. Okay, we can see this particular string right here. Okay, it's the structure is now new, so we can see the ID right here. And if we should go ahead to compare this, it might not be accurate. And besides, the major thing we need is just the meal ID exactly. So that is the essence of me getting the exact meal ID, and before doing the conditional checking. Okay, so let's quickly clear that off, and let's save, and let's come to our app right here. Okay, so we should see this being updated now, so it shouldn't give us any old recipe detail. Okay, so let's see, let's choose select something else. Okay, beef and oyster pie, and we should see that, okay, we can see that works now. So we've essentially fixed that. Okay, another quick fix we need to do is here. So let's say I search for beef, and we have right here beef lo mein and all of these right here. If we should click on it, we can see that the result we are getting is actually based on the old ID that we are having. So if I should click on this, we are not getting the full recipe name right here because it's just the main ID, and we need to fix that. So what I'm essentially going to do is go to our header. So right here, okay, click on this and then the main header, and the only fix we need to actually do is I'm just going to come right here and I'm just going to paste this. Okay, so we basically do the same thing we've been doing, and let's save that. And then I'm just going to come here and I'm going to search for, let's see, chicken. Okay, we are having some error right here, so let me quickly refresh that before we try and troubleshoot. Okay, so let's search for chicken. Okay, and looking here we can see, okay, so let's check, let's see what exactly caused our error. So right there in the console, let's come down right here, and okay, we can see here it says recipe was accessed during render but not defined on instance. And if we should come back here, remember when I actually pasted this in, okay, inside of our v4 directive right here, we don't have recipe, but we have item and index. Okay, so what we should have here should be item, and what we should have here should be item. Okay, so let's save that, and I'm just going to come back here and refresh. Okay, all right, we can see that works fine now, and let's quickly search for something. Okay, and searching for chicken, and we can see, okay, clicking on tandoori chicken, and that should bring us right here. Now, isn't this fun? Fixing bugs have never been more fun. All right, two remaining things, last things we actually need to fix up in our app is number one, the 404 page. Now right here, if I should come here and I should do something like come to I am Maestro, and we are basically going to see very interesting thing. Okay, just a blank page, and we are not having anything right here, which we don't want. And secondly, let's say I come right here, so right here, inside of this our URL, I type in an extra bunch of numbers, so automatically the app is going to try to get the recipe details from this API right here. So if I should click on that, we just it's going to load and try to render, and everything is going to be null. So whenever the user types in an incorrect recipe detail URL, we want it to act to that 404 page. Now instead of it, maybe I don't know, having console.log invalid ID or something, so we want it to actually redirect to the 404 page. Okay, so coming back here, and I'm going to come to my router configuration file, and down here, okay, we have where we have our list of routes. So down here, I'm just going to paste in this right here. Okay, so basically it's just from our previous lessons, and we have it leading up to this particular view whenever, okay, a page is not found. All right, so essentially what I would love to do is create a new view, and when we come, okay, right here, so we can create a 404 view. Okay, and I'm just going to create this, and essentially I'm just going to clear these, and this is going to be set up. All right, so I'm going to have my default layout. All right, and we need to actually import that in, so let me just copy that from maybe the home view and just copy the path. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight this and I'm going to paste this in right here, page not found. So I'm going to save this and come right here and save this. Okay, so let's come back and right here. Okay, so I'm just going to type in something like recipes. Okay, and we should see, okay, not found, and we have it right here. And okay, you can make sure to change this. I'm just putting in this to make it a bit nicer. And one thing we can do right here is instead of putting not found, we can change it to 404. Okay, 404 page not found. All right, so let's save that and let's come back here and we should see that get updated right here. Okay, for page not found, and this is okay, looking good. Now what if we go back to that our previous route right here? What we can do is inside of recipe details info, and I'm just going to come right here. What I'm going to do is create a new router instance. Remember, we are making use of use route, so we want to actually bring in is use router. Okay, to be able to do any kind of redirection, manual redirection, etc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say router equals to use router, and down here I'm just going to do something simple and I'm going to say router dot push, and I'm going to redirect it to 404. All right, so let's see if that is going to work. Okay, that is not working, and the major reason for that is right here. Straight away before this our if check, we are automatically assigning the value, and that is throwing an error, which is a rendering error, which is actually stopping the remaining codes right here from being run. So let's just remove this, and I'm just going to save this and let's come back right here and let's refresh. Okay, we can see that works. So if I should go back to this particular route, okay, tries to fetch, if not it's going to redirect. But what if, okay, we go to a legitimate, a nice working and valid route? If I should click on this and it fetches from the API, gets it, okay, no problem. But what if I had an extra number right here, 000, and go, and that should try to fetch, if not redirect to our 404 page. All right, so this makes sense. Our recipe app is now working as expected. Now one quick thing I would love to do is, okay, let's see, is there any cleanup I need to do? No, I think everything kind of looks good and works fine. Now in the next lesson we are going to quickly take a look in how we can actually deploy this our application. All right, so I'm going to see you there.